and welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, welcome. My name is Cherise, and on this video I will be reviewing the new Laura Mercier Real Flawless Weightless Perfecting Foundation. This cost 64 Canadian dollars for 30 ml, which is on the pricey side, so I'm really hoping that this foundation really performs well on my skin. When it comes to claims, this foundation claims to be a hydrating foundation that delivers cake-free, color-true wear that blurs the look of imperfections, pores, and fine lines while improving skin tone or texture immediately and over time. The formula is dermatologist tested and claims to be suitable for all skin types, even sensitive. Now let's go with a try-on. I already primed my face with the NYX Plump Right Back Primer, and I'm going to make sure to shake the bottle really well. So on my right side, I'm going to use a brush, and on my left side, I'm going to use my fingers. Initially, that's my plan, but if it doesn't work, then I'm going to use a sponge. Oh, this is very liquid, very runny. And even if I shake it really well, you can see the separation on the pigments. There you go. Like you can see some brown, and then the other parts are lighter. Apply on this side first. It is very light. They are not, oh, and it's scent free. It is very light. They're not kidding when they said that it's very, very light. It reminds me of my Temp 2 foundation, the airbrush foundation. That's how light this is. I feel like if you put this in an airbrush gun, like there will be no clugging because it's just super light. It has like a milky consistency almost. So I did 2 pumps. I think I need more though. It applies like a tinted moisturizer, but it has more coverage than a tinted moisturizer. I'd say that with 2 pumps, you can achieve a medium coverage. I can hardly see my red veins anymore. Redness on my face is also gone. This half of my face looks very, very even. I have to say this is the lightest foundation I have ever used. I don't know what they put in here, but it doesn't feel like anything on the face. I even think that it feels lighter than a moisturizer. When it comes to its shade, I think that I found my perfect match. So if you are my shade Twinsy, I'm in the shade 2W2 Warm Linen. So on my left side, I'm going to use my fingers. So this is the side where I use my fingers, and I think that the pigments are showing more if you use a brush. So I'm going to use my brush instead, yeah. And do like a stippling motion instead of like a buffing motion, just so I can deposit more of the pigment. It even covered the redness of my pimple. I was not expecting a high coverage with how light this foundation is. I think I'm gonna add just half a pump in the center of my face because I want more coverage there. It is scent free, but it smells like, you know when you have a new Barbie doll? That's how it smells like. It smells like a new Barbie doll. What is a Barbie doll made of? Rubber? Comment down below. So this is how my face looks like after full foundation. I think I've used 4.5 pumps in total. First impression with this foundation, first it really feels weightless. It feels very light on the face. It feels very moisturizing on the face. When it comes to coverage, it can give you up to a medium coverage. It really neutralized the redness on my face. It also hid my veins on the side of my face. When it comes to it being blurring, I really think that although it looks radiant, I don't see my big pores anymore, which is weird because radiant foundation usually highlight the pores on the side of my cheeks, but with this one, it gives you that radiance, but it doesn't highlight your texture. It has that blurring effect, at the same time gives you that radiant glow. At this point, without setting it with powder, I don't think it has a natural finish. It has more of a radiant finish. So I'm going to put on my cream products on top of my face, and let's see if this is a good base for my cream products. Because it is very moisturizing, the cream blends so easily with this foundation. The foundation is moving along though with the bronzer, so I have to make sure to set this with powder for sure. Because this is Charlotte Tilbury's matte blush in Pillow Talk. This is my favorite cream blush as of the moment. I'm just gonna put it on my hands first. The consistency of this blush plus the consistency of this foundation is like a match made in heaven. So far, all my cream products really blended well with this foundation. I'm going to add some powder. So I'm going to use my Laura Mercier powder. I think I'm just going to put this under my eyes and then in the center of my face, but I'm going to keep a little glow like on the side of my face. So far, the one thing that really impressed me about this foundation is how pigmented it is, even though it's very lightweight. I'm going to finish my eye makeup and I'm going to add some powder blush, powder bronzer, and then I'll be back. I have a little of a hard time blending my bronzer and my blush on top of this foundation because it is very emollient even after setting it with powder. Like, see, I can still feel that emollient feeling. I'm gonna add a little bit more of that Laura Mercier translucent powder on my face because I feel like if I don't set this with powder, the foundation will just be moving around. Like, even with my fingers where I put the foundation, I can still feel that creamy feeling. But besides that little hiccup, I really like how this foundation looks like on my face. It really looks natural and again very, very lightweight. Now let's see how this looks like on photography. This is how my face looks like on the 4th hour. There's a weird thing that happened to my face on the 4th hour. Remember, I didn't put any powder on this area so that we can see how glowy it is throughout the day. But let me go closer. So since I am oily, can you see some of the dots of oil coming through? I'm also going to use my phone camera. Maybe you can see it better there. But there's like dots of oil that is forming on the sides where I didn't put powder. And then on the side where I put powder, like on my forehead. And then on the side where I put powder, like on my forehead and on my chin, it looks cakey. The foundation and the powder is like separating. And on the 4th hour, it is still very emollient, so it's still transferring on my hand. If you don't look at my face closely, it looks very natural. The coverage is still there. It looks really nice. And my face feels very moisturized, but it's just so weird looking up close. Let's see if I can fix it with powder. It's better with powder now. I actually love this foundation. Like, even when I was doing a video call with my friend, he's like, oh, I like how your makeup looks like today. And I was like, yeah, I'm reviewing this foundation and I really like it. But really up close, it's just not performing that well. Even though I like the finish of this foundation, it looks very natural, very light on the face. And even on the 4th hour, I still have that medium coverage. I am just bothered by how it looks like up close and how much it moves on my face even when I already put powder. Like, if I touch my face, it would easily transfer on my finger. Okay, now I'm back and this is the 8-hour update and this is how my face is looking like. Looking at the camera, and if I'm not looking super up close, I still look really great and I don't look oily, especially on the parts where I put powder on the 4th hour. That looks very poreless. But let me go up close. So the foundation separated on my upper lip, also on my chin. You can really see that it is breaking up and separating. Also on my upper lip and also on the middle of my forehead. And then on the parts where I'm not oily and where I'm powdered, it just really looks like it's not blended onto the skin. It's not fused into the skin. Like you'll see the separation of the foundation and my skin. Also on this side. And again, it's not too obvious when I'm this far from the camera, but when I look closely in the mirror and when you see me up close, you'll really see those details. And also now that it's on the 8th hour and now that I have powdered the parts where I didn't powder before, I was assuming that this wouldn't transfer so much anymore at this point, that this would really set onto my skin. But even on the powder parts, it still easily transfers. The good thing though is that even though it transfers, it still gives me that medium coverage. But I just don't want a foundation that's always transferring on my fingers or on my clothing. So that's the biggest con about this foundation. And now that I've worn this for 8 hours, I think I'm ready to rate this foundation. I'm going to rate this foundation a 3 stars out of 5 stars. It is for sure a weightless foundation. It's very comfortable on the face. Even when you're applying this foundation, you won't feel anything. It's that light and weightless. It's also very moisturizing and emollient. The finish looks really amazing on the skin. I really also like the shade. And it can really give you a good medium coverage. But because it's very emollient, it's very prone to transfer and it's very prone to move around my face. Like when I was putting on my cream bronzer and my cream blush, the foundation is moving with the blush and moving with the bronzer. I also didn't like that on the 4th hour, I can see dots on my pores where my oil is coming out. It's my first time to ever try foundation that made that effect on my skin. I still look great on the 8th hour. It's not like I look like a hot mess on the 8th hour. I still like the finish. I still like the coverage. But for 64 Canadian dollars, I was expecting a lot more from this foundation. I like the idea about this foundation, but I think they need to reformulate this in such a way that it still works even if you put creams and powders on top of this foundation. And I've used the Laura Mercier powder. Usually I use my Estee Lauder for my foundation review, but I use my Laura Mercier translucent powder thinking that this has been tested with that powder so it would be compatible, but it still didn't work. I think if I wanted to have the same finish as this foundation, I would rather use the Makeup by Mario one, because with that foundation it's very versatile as a base and it works well with my other products, may it be cream or powder. If they reformulate this to work well with creams and powders, for sure this will be one of my favorite foundation, because on initial application I really like this foundation. So that ends my review on this Laura Mercier foundation. Thank you so much, dolls, for watching. I hope that you find this video helpful, and if you did, please don't forget to like this video, please don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you'll always be updated once a new video is up. Thank you so much, dolls, again for watching. I'll see you in my next video.